Is that all right?
Yeah, it's all right.
I already asked you, and you already said it was all right.
This is the bottom line on a whole bunch of stuff on economy with the ecclesia. In terms of basic economics, for society to succeed, that is, have a viable economy, it must create value so wealth will flow to it. If a society does not create value to generate wealth from the societies around them, then it will fail.
Yeah.
And I also like to say there's a book called Utopian Communities in America, 1680 to 1880. It is outstanding.
Oh, wow.
And I wrote a little bit about that real quick here, just so I don't have to remember. It says it's by Mark Holloway. You can get very inexpensive copies on ABE Books, probably the best source for used books on the internet. And I put here, learn the many mistakes people made in attempting to create societies of believers and all the successful things they did too. It gives their intentions and practical applications. Why remake their mistakes and suffer their losses?
Yeah.
It's an outstanding book, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was talking about. I mean, what your comment there about having an economic basis was to, the difference between these different communities is, as a community have an economic something big going on, like the not this, East Wind has been around forever. They make peanut butter, and they're famous for their peanut butter, so they have something going on, in the way of an economic basis, making. Whatever. I mean, it can be, hammocks, I think they do hammocks actually. But anyway, there's a lot of different, something that you need to develop something as an economic basis to be able to live the lifestyle you want to live. And we all want to live out in the country, live in community. Well, you got to have something that will allow you to do that, whether it's some form of construction, some form of, animal husbandry. My son's got cattle going on, getting by doing it, not making a whole lot of money, but he's getting by. I don't know what he's doing because he's. I told people if he played poker, he wouldn't be able to see his own cards. They'd be. He holds his cards so close to the vest. Like, can you help me with a cattle drive this morning? I'm like,
Yeah. And these things are really like long-term, continuous throughout a long season. You can go the other way and say, instead of all of us growing strawberries, which is basically the first berry of the year, you can money up fast with strawberries. You have some sort of harvest at the beginning of the, or in the spring, and then you work, because that's going to end. That harvest is going to end.
Right.
You're preparing for the next harvest, maybe the middle of summer.
Sure.
And then maybe a fall harvest could be oftentimes fruit trees, nut trees would come in at that time.
Yeah.
So you can actually divide the year up, and you're going to money up 3 times in the year, but at the same time you're building your teepees, you're building your houses when you get the opportunity, you're doing your cattle when you get the opportunity.
Right. Okay.
So you're stacking your income, and
Yeah.
you're spreading it out among a number of different families, because one family might be good at raising strawberries, another might be really good at orchards.
Yeah.
You can teach each other the skills, but you're not all trying to cram your efforts into one small period of time. You're actually
Yeah.
dividing things up.
And that's one thing. One thing that struck a chord there. You could do me or whatever.
All right.
I don't know. We can pass it back and forth, but I don't want to go too long either. One thing you mentioned is that a lot of people, when we can't, get out in the country, and you think you're going to do everything. And I've heard it from my son. I've heard it from John. I've heard it from PJ. I figured out that I'm not Superman. Okay, no, you can't cut firewood for a living and bale hay and run sheep and run goats, and but you can do a lot of them partially, but everybody can do something. Everybody should have chickens. Should everybody have goats? Probably not.
Right.
They're
Well, when you get
royal-
into husbandry, it
they're royal.
really is
Yeah.
you need a number of people because you're married to it. You can plant, a peach tree and walk away. It'll do all right. You can tend to it once in a while, but goats, you're married to it, which is all right if you've got enough people to
Right.
work it.
Yeah.
I've always said, it's a saying I learned a long time ago. It just came to me one day that if we don't pull together, we'll get pulled apart.
Yeah.
And the sheep want to work together. The goats, they want to go off and do their own thing.
Yeah. I met a guy one day, Jeff just around the road. He's a horse guy. And I happened to talk to him that day. Well, I know he came out and we lost goats. So he put me on a horse, which is the first time I'd been on a horse since I almost died on a horse, or became a paraplegic anyway. But anyway, I told him, I said, yeah, there's two things that goats want to know: where they're not supposed to go and how to get there. So that night we were at a rodeo, and he was the MC. He's riding around on his beautiful horse and his beautiful little outfit, you know, with the little radio thingy. And I learned something today because they were about ready to do a kid, you know, try to rope or wrestle the goat or something. I learned two things today, you know. There's only two things that goats want to know: how you know, where they're not supposed to go and how to get there. You know. He said, "Oh, Jerry Diamond taught me this today. That was pretty funny." But anyway, okay, let me.
Sure.
I like to keep them short because they